Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage we're looking a little bit further into the issue of squeaks. Now quite a few of you were trying out the improvement which gets rid of 90% of squeaks in the XK8 and XKR, which is just basically finding the hidden dashboard screws behind the little speaker grills up on the top here, giving those a tweak, and hey presto, 90% of the things that start to irritate us over years go away. But that spawned some really good conversation and a few people who had genuinely got some other squeaks. And I have one of those squeaks, or had anyway, so I do know how to resolve one of them, and I'm pretty sure I know where the other one is coming from. So these squeaks are related with the seats. There are at least two different types of seats in the XK8 and XKR, Recaro's and the Lear seats, which I've got. Obviously I can only show you the Lear seats, but I would believe that these same issues will affect both. Okay, so the question or comment that was quite interesting what we got was, one of our viewers had an issue with the seats making a squeaking noise due to sort of lateral movement side to side, and they felt they detected the squeak more on maybe the unloaded seat, the passenger seat, but it was the sideways movement of the backrest in effect. Now the reason for that is something that is documented, and I think there was a fix by Jaguar at some point on some cars as well, so this one I'm pretty sure on. When you release the backrest of your car, you lift this lever, and at the bottom open it up, excuse the mess, it moves. Let's get a good view, that big claw, and that's a metal item, and there's a little bit of play in that. Down here we have a welded on boss on the seat frame, and this claw that we've just been looking at hooks around this, and as you can see actually there's a wear point, sits on the top, and the hook underneath prevents it from folding forward as you move around. So when I drop this down, there is inevitably some movement up and down, the slack that's been worn in that little groove, and if I try and move the seat side to side, there's a fair amount of movement, and a good deal of that is being taken up here and in the hinge just behind here. On some cars you'll find that there is actually a plastic sleeve over this boss. It's a split sleeve, it's been put on after, and it may be on later models as standard. So it's a known thing that's been happening with Jags. So if you've got a bit of a noise coming from the seats in your car, more likely the unloaded seat, but possibly when you shuffle sideways or go around a sharp bend, this is the first one to try out. And my recommendation is, for the quickest, easiest fix, and you'll know whether it's causing it straight away, use linen tape to put a single wrap around this boss. By linen tape I mean something like this, actually made of cloth, quite commonly used as a wrap for looms, but is also something that you might get with a roll of self-amalgamating tape to wrap around the outside of that once it's cured, to stop it from sticking to anything else. I've just cut myself down a piece to the right sort of width, sticking on there. Now if this cures your noise, you at least know exactly where it's come from, and could look at using a piece of maybe split tube to make a more permanent fix. or you might want to just stick with this. So with that in place, check that your seat back still latches. Immediately I've got less movement, and I'm reasonably happy that's going to have an effect. Do that on all 4 bosses, 2 on each seat, and again you get a lot of movement and a lot of possibilities for noise. There's a plastic trim piece here, and this is attached to the rail for adjusting your seat position, so it moves with it. And if we go around to the back, you expose the rail. If I lift the seat, you can see the back end of that trim piece. Now this is the passenger side of my car, and this trim piece is reasonably well attached, but just the fact that I can make that noise with it gives you a clue that it's not the best piece of design ever. And this is the good one on my car. So let's go around to the driver's side. On the driver's side of my car, currently there is no cover. And that's because I had that rattle and it was driving me a little bit nutty, so I removed the piece of trim. Because I've removed it, we can have a look what makes it tick or click. So, one piece moulding, nothing particularly interesting or clever on it. Again, for those of us amongst us who are sad as me, still on 97, January, February, March, April. So everything on my car is April or May 97, so May 97 is when it was born. We have a clip here, which is just a barbed clip, and that, just wake up, remember, hooks over the front edge of your seat track, your seat runner. But there's not actually a lot else involved. There's a little stop at the end there, but that is the culprit. This is, or was, a double-sided foam pad, and that double-sided foam pad just adheres to the top surface of the runner. So I've got, again, a roll of tape. I think all my solutions have got tapes involved. This is double-sided foam. It's about 1 millimetre thick, so we're talking maybe a 32nd thick if you're thinking in imperial terms. And I'm not even going to remove this pad because I know that's going to give me something good to stick to, and it also is very, very thin and has been collapsed over time. So get that hair out of the way. I've got a slightly larger piece of foam pad. Working him well in. Bit of heat from my finger will help him stick. And now the classic issue with finding the edge. There we go. So that's my nice double-sided pad. These are a bit of a faff to insert, particularly on the driver's side because of the handbrake. So if this gets a bit squirrely from a video point of view, you have to forgive me. Let's see if I can sit you somewhere. The challenge is not to stick the pad down until you're in the right place, and you can reach underneath and touch the metal clip and make sure that that's in the right sort of place on the front of the runner. You can touch the back of the moulding where it comes out the back and make sure it's in a reasonable location, and then once you're in place, press down on it. This seems a little bit easier if you've got seats all the way forward, just so it overhangs at the front. You can get your fingers underneath to do some of the work. And excuse the state of my carpets, up into the beach again. There you are, it's attached and it's not making any discernible noises. So that was literally just rattling around under the seat on my car and making a right din, and it's actually been on the shelf in my shed for about 3 months because I keep forgetting to do anything about it, and I hadn't got any foam tape at the time. I'll put a link in the description to something similar to this. Obviously you can come up with your own solution, but you might as well see where I got this stuff from.